For more than 100 days, the Middle East has been locked in a military standoff that quickly spiraled into a global economic crisis. To apply maximum economic leverage, Iran established a de facto blockade over the Strait of Hormuz, closing off one of the world's most critical shipping lanes. The United States responded with a total naval blockade of Iranian ports, leaving commercial cargo vessels stranded at the docks. This chart tracks the immediate global fallout of that dual strangulation. Over the 100-day window, you can see a simultaneous exponential spike in international shipping freight rates on one axis, paired with surging crude oil prices on the other. Both Washington and Tehran were absorbing massive economic damage, yet stepping down carries steep domestic political costs for either administration. With the global supply chain buckling under the pressure of two paralyzed maritime routes, breaking the stalemate required outside intervention. That intervention came through intense back-channel diplomacy led by Pakistan and Qatar. At the absolute height of the conflict, Qatari officials made two emergency visits to Tehran, urging Iranian leadership to accept a negotiated ceasefire. Meanwhile, Pakistani leadership took a wider approach. They rallied the regional Quad, which includes Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and Turkey, to apply coordinated pressure. By organizing this coalition, the mediators assured neighboring countries that their own maritime trade and economic interests in the Gulf would be protected in any final agreement. Presenting a unified regional front cornered both the U.S. and Iran. It offered them a structured diplomatic off-ramp, which both sides preferred over an uncontained multi-front war. For the United States, the timing was highly sensitive. The administration was heading into a volatile November election cycle. Washington needed a clear diplomatic win, but more pressingly, they needed to lower domestic consumer costs and gas prices that had surged during the blockade. Iran brought its own requirements to the table: an immediate halt to attacks on its regional proxies by U.S. and Israeli forces, and the release of $24 billion in frozen foreign assets. This graphic illustrates the core concessions: lifting the U.S. port blockade, reopening the Strait of Hormuz, and releasing $24 billion in frozen assets. Notice what's missing from the balance. Negotiations over Iran's nuclear program are explicitly deferred to a separate 60-day window. The agreement solves the immediate political and economic survival needs for both administrations, while punting the most complex structural dispute down the road. The moment the ceasefire was announced, global markets reacted. Financial indexes across Asia surged almost instantly. This chart shows the specific impact on the energy sector. Brent crude oil prices fell 4%, stabilizing at the $84 a barrel marker. That stabilization allowed international shipping vessels to restart their engines and resume regular transit operations. Restoring access to the Strait of Hormuz reversed the price spikes in shipping and energy that had disrupted global trade for 3 months. Despite the economic relief, a friction point remains. Israel is officially silent on the terms and is not a signatory to the U.S.-Iran memorandum. The Israeli government faces domestic pressure to continue its military campaign and has resisted withdrawing its forces from areas in southern Lebanon. This conflicts with Iran's absolute red line. The ceasefire requires an immediate and permanent end to Israeli strikes on Beirut and Lebanese territory. Enforcing these terms will be the primary focus of technical talks in Geneva, where the agreement is set to be formally signed. Drafting a mutual stand-down is one thing. Using a diplomatic conference in Switzerland to successfully command independent regional forces and allied militaries on the ground is another challenge entirely. Back-channel diplomacy successfully averted a global economic disaster on paper, but true stability in the Middle East remains dependent on unresolved, active conflicts on the ground.